Hello, welcome to our quick overview of the project grants offered by the Edmonton Heritage Council's Heritage Community Investment Program, also known as HCIP. The Edmonton Heritage Council supports and preserves Edmonton's rich heritage by offering several key programs, including the HCIP grants we're discussing today, the Funding Indigenous Resurgence in Edmonton grants, and the Edmonton City as Museum project. HCIP has 6 grant streams with differing eligibilities, funding amounts, and intake dates. You can learn more about each grant by viewing the grant guidelines on our website. We offer 2 project grants. The Heritage Project Grant and Research and Development Grant provide funding for projects that focus on the history and heritage of Edmonton. I'll explain the differences between these 2 grants in the next slide. The Operational Grant and Change Capital Grant provide funding to heritage organizations to help them increase their capacity. The Career Development Grant provides funding for heritage practitioners to participate in skill-building opportunities. And the Community Archives Support Grant provides funding to support communities to overcome barriers when donating items to the City of Edmonton archives. So, how do our project grants differ? Both grants seek to fund projects that focus on the history, culture, and heritage of Edmonton to benefit our local community. The Heritage Project Grant provides up to $20,000 for projects that will be completed soon, within a year of receiving funding. The completed project must include a public sharing component to be eligible. This could be an event, gathering, exhibition, or any other type of community engagement. If your project is in development and will not be completed within a year, then you can consider applying for the Research and Development Grant instead. The Research and Development Grant provides up to $10,000 for projects that are in the planning, research, and development phases. This grant does not fund the completion, presentation, or publication phases of a project. Each grant has its own unique eligibility requirements, which you can see in more detail in the guidelines on our website. Both grants are open to individuals, collectives, and nonprofit organizations located in Edmonton. The applicant must be a Canadian citizen or permanent resident 18 years or older. Applicants must have submitted all final reports for any previous EHC grants, and the project must have a start date 8 weeks or later after the application deadline and would need to be completed within 1 year. We're excited to support a wide variety of heritage-related projects. Past recipients have done everything from writing a book to performing in festivals. You can learn more about the projects we've funded in the past on our website. These grants are quite flexible in what expenses they can cover. Our grant funding can support your project's honorariums, research and production costs, venue rentals, materials and supplies, and more. We want to ensure that you're compensated for your work, so you can and should include payment for yourself as a project coordinator. If you need some guidance determining how much to pay yourself and others, we recommend referring to the CARFAC fee schedule. Ineligible expenses for these grants include capital purchases that would be used beyond the duration of the project, any fundraising costs, any past expenses that have already been paid, and any subsistence expenses. The application process is straightforward and happens through our online grant portal. You'll first need to register as a user, and then you can begin your application. I'll do a brief walkthrough of our portal. This is our grant portal homepage with information about all of the grants we offer. You'll have to log in or register as a user to apply for our grants. When you register as a user, you can either register as an individual applicant or as an organization if you're applying for grants for your nonprofit. You can use the same login information whenever you or your organization wants to apply for a grant. Once you're registered and logged in, You can click into a grant and click Apply. Once the application form is open, you can click on the Instructions button to see more information about the application process. Our grants have 4 steps: an eligibility form, the application form, a section for you to upload required documents, and a signature page. You can save and download your application at any point. If you want to edit your application after you've saved it, you would click on the 3 dots at the top right and click Edit. You can go back to previous pages of the application form to edit them by scrolling down and clicking Previous. One of the requirements of the application is to submit a budget for your project using our budget template. In your budget, you'll need to include your expected project revenues and expenses. Your budget must balance, meaning your revenues equal your expenses. On our website, you can find all of our templates and samples of completed templates. Here's what happens after you apply. After the grant deadline, our team reviews applications for completeness and eligibility. The eligible applications go to our peer jury for assessment. The jury makes funding recommendations to our board, and finally, applicants are notified of decisions. The whole process takes about 8 weeks from the application deadline to notification. We would love to support you with your application. I'm available to meet with applicants to answer any questions, and I can review your draft application and provide you with feedback before you submit your application up to 2 weeks before the deadline. We also offer support by promoting your project. If you have any questions about the grants or the application forms, please reach out. We're here to support you throughout the application process. You can contact us directly at grants@edmontonheritage.ca, and you can also book a virtual meeting with me. Thank you for taking the time to learn more about the HCIP project grants.